Hi, and welcome to The Struggle is Real, Supporting My Highly Intelligent Child. My name is Dr. Jo Tuitt, and it's my pleasure to be here with you. I have a presentation that I'll share with you in just a moment, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I do apologize for the bandage on my face. I had a little surgical procedure, but hopefully it won't be too distracting or hinder how you're able to understand me today. Share a little bit about my background with you. I've worked in and conducted research in the field of gifted education for about 34 years. My educational background itself is a little bit varied. I have undergraduate degrees in both business and in sociology, a master's in educational administration, and then a doctorate in educational leadership with a certification in high ability education. Lending next to my education are definitely my children. I have four kiddos who have and are running the educational gamut, from requiring special education services to high achieving to creative thinker and to a gifted or high ability student as well. So again, all across the board, which has truly lended wonderful context to my education and as well as my experiences here at the Indiana Academy working with high ability students. So that's enough about me. Let's go ahead and jump right into the program. Today I have several objectives for you, and I'm going to be relying heavily on information from Howard Gardner, the Davidson Institute, Psych2Go, and the Jamestown School District in North Dakota. And I'm going to use those resources in order to meet our objectives, which are first to define highly intelligent and to take a bit of a deeper look at the 9 different intelligence types. We'll review the characteristics of a highly intelligent person, identify some of their common habits. We'll review things that they tend to do differently and then look at some of the struggles that they face. And then as a parent, I always am looking forward to and anticipating hearing about as well as sharing ways that we can support our highly intelligent students. So those are our objectives for this get together today. It's kind of like we're going to be spending some time peeling an onion, so to speak, and we're going to look at all of the different layers of highly intelligent children. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to look at the ways that we can support them. So let's go ahead and start peeling that onion. According to the Davidson Institute, children who are gifted are defined as those who demonstrate an advanced ability or a potential in one or more specific areas when you compare them to other children of the same age, same experience, and or same environment. That's the same definition that the state of Indiana utilizes for our high ability or gifted programming as well. These gifted kiddos excel in their ability to think, to reason, to judge, and it makes it necessary for them to receive special education services and support to be able to fully develop their potential and their talents. Gifted children come from all socioeconomic statuses, different racial and ethnic backgrounds, and they're identified from literally all across the country. And depending on which theorist you tend to follow, gifted children, highly intelligent children, tend to make up between 5 and 10% of the school age population. And while no two gifted children are the same, many do share some common characteristics and traits. For example, advanced thinking and comprehension above their age peers, emotional intensity at a young age, a heightened sense of self awareness, highly developed curiosity, and they tend to also exhibit excellent memory. You'll see on the screen in front of you a kind of a breakdown of IQ. These gifted IQ ranges are based on a standard bell curve. However, different IQ tests may sit differently within this range, as some test ceilings are capped at 145. Some may use different terminology, for example, using exceptionally gifted instead of highly gifted. So there are some differences there. While universal consensus on these ranges and labels may not be reached, it is understood, though, that students who deviate from the average IQ score of 100 require special educational accommodations to be able to meet their unique needs as high ability, highly intelligent students. Today, I'll be using the terms highly intelligent, gifted, and high ability interchangeably. So let's take a look at the 9 different types of intelligence. In 1983, Howard Gardner, who was a psychologist and professor at Harvard University, introduced multiple types of intelligence in his book, Frames of the Mind. There were originally 8, but in 2011, I believe it was, number 9 was added, though it doesn't meet the initial inclusion criteria that he established for the first 8. He did opt to go ahead and include it, like I said, in 2011, I believe it was. So let's go ahead and review these in a little bit more detail and see if you can see your child in one or more of these areas. So let me just quickly go through what these are, and then as I advance the slides, we'll dig in a little bit deeper. So we have the naturalist, which is nature smart, existential, which is life smart, bodily kinesthetic, which is body smart, musical is sound smart, interpersonal, people smart, linguistic is kind of that word smart, logical or mathematical is that number or reasoning smart, interpersonal is self smart, and then spatial is picture smart. So let's go ahead and dive into those. All right, so first we have here spatial intelligence, and this is the ability to think abstractly and in multiple different dimensions. Scoring a 5 on these means that you have a large capacity for spatial reasoning and conceptualization, something that's required for fields such as architecture, graphic design, photography, interior design, aviation. So when you're thinking about students that have a high spatial intelligence, they may be looking at potential career choices, such as a pilot or fashion designer, architect, surgeon, artist, engineer. Next, we have the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. And this is the ability to use your body in a way that demonstrates physical and athletic prowess. If a student has this skill, they could be an athlete pretty effortlessly running down a field and passing a ball, or a dancer flawlessly performing a complicated routine. Some career choices, if you see bodily kinesthetic in your student, some career choices are dancer, physical therapist, athlete, mechanic, builder, and actor. Next, we have musical intelligence. Students that have musical intelligence demonstrate sensitivity to rhythm, to pitch, meter, tone, melody, all of those different aspects of music. This may entail the ability to sing or to play musical instruments. There are some famous people with musical intelligence, such as Beethoven, Jimi Hendrix, Aretha Franklin. So if you're seeing a high musical intelligence within your child, some potential career choices are singer, musical conductor, DJ, music teacher, songwriter, composer. We have linguistic intelligence. This is sometimes called language intelligence. This involves a sensitivity to the meaning of words, the order among words, the sounds, the rhythms, inflections, meter, all of those things associated with words. Those who tend to score high in this category are typically good at writing stories, memorizing information, reading. And if you're seeing high linguistics intelligence within your child, some possible career choices are poet, novelist, journalist, editor, lawyer, English professor. Next, we have the logical mathematical intelligence. The ability to analyze problems logically, carry out mathematical operations, and investigate issues scientifically are all kind of a part of this just logical mathematical intelligence. Um, some famous people with this intelligence would be Albert Einstein, for example, and Bill Gates. And some potential career choices, if you're seeing this within your own child, would be computer programmer, mathematician, economist, accountant, scientist, and engineer. And then next we have interpersonal intelligence. And this is the ability to interact effectively with others. They show a sensitivity to other people's moods and feelings, to their temperaments and motivations. Essentially, it's being able to understand and relate to all of those people around you. So, if you're seeing a high level of interpersonal intelligence within your student, some possible career choices are team manager, negotiator, politician, publicist, a salesperson, marketing, psychologist. Next, we have our intrapersonal intelligence. And this is a sensitivity to one's own feelings and goals, to one's own anxiety, the capacity to plan and to act in light of one's own traits. So, intrapersonal intelligence is not particular to specific careers, as the others have been that I've mentioned, but rather it's a goal for every individual in a complex modern society where one has to make decisions for oneself. Um, but we do see those kind of connecting to a few different career choices, and those would include therapist, counselor, psychologist, entrepreneur, philosopher, and theorist, as well as many others, because, like I mentioned, those are particularly, it's a particularly important area for anyone needing to make decisions. And then naturalistic intelligence, and this is the ability to understand those nuances in nature, including the distinction between plants and animals and other elements of nature and life. Notable individuals with naturalistic intelligence include Charles Darwin and Jane Goodall. So, if you're seeing this within your student, this intelligence within your student, a few possible career choices include a geologist, farmer, botanist, biologist, conservationist, florist. And then finally, the ninth type of intelligence is the existential intelligence, excuse me. And the students with this type of intelligence tend to ask those deep questions. They tend to look at the big picture and seek understanding about the world. If you're seeing this within your student, some possible career choices would be philosopher, theorist, theologian, life coach. So that was a very quick run through the 9 different types of intelligence. Did you see your child in one or more of those descriptions? You can drop it in the chat box. Now that we've looked at the different types of intelligence, let's take a look at a few of the characteristics our highly intelligent children may display. Again, peeling that onion. So first, and these are in no particular order, they're funny. A study published in 2011 found that out of 400 student participants, 200 female, 200 male, that those who wrote funnier cartoon captions scored better on the test of verbal intelligence. Highly intelligent students can also be curious and open to new experiences. Highly intelligent people who engage their passions and ask those questions like who, what, when, where, why, how, what if. Um, they're also open to trying new things. There was a study in 2016 with over 5,000, I think it was like 5,600 and some adults that were followed for a period of 50 years. They found that there's a connection between openness to experience and your intelligence as a kid. They found that children aged 11 who had a high score on their IQ test were found to be more open to experience when assessed again than at the age of 50. And then next, they're loners, or maybe loners. They often prefer their own company to the company of other age peers. They do also tend to prefer the company of those that are older, so more like their intellectual peers. They also can often tend to be introverts, so needing time alone to kind of recharge. Two researchers, Lee and Kanazawa, had 15,000 people age 18 to 28 in a study, and they took a survey and an IQ test. And the individuals who were highly intelligent on the test were found to be not as happy with their lives the more frequently they had to socialize. And it did not specify if they were socializing with age peers or intellectual peers. And I think that they may have seen some difference had they been able to look at those two specifics. Because as I mentioned, highly intelligent children do often prefer their own company or the company of their intellectual peers as opposed to their age peers. They can also be highly empathetic. Many psychologists say that empathy is an important part of high emotional intelligence. So, if your child is open to new experiences, they may just be one who is open and understanding to others' experiences as well, which means they may be high on that empathy scale. They're often anxious, nervous, worriers, or more so than others in their same age bracket. They may worry more than kind of that average person, I guess. In 2015, a 2015 study had 126 undergraduate students complete how much they worried, thought deeply about worrying thoughts, and thought about scenarios that upset them. And it found that students who often spend time worrying and kind of ruminating on thoughts held a high score in measures of verbal intelligence. And those who didn't worry as much scored higher in nonverbal intelligence. Highly intelligent kiddos can be adaptable and recognize when they need to change. Many psychologists believe that adaptability is a sign of intelligence. Sternberg, who was the professor of psychology, and I believe he was also the dean of the School of Arts and Sciences at Tufts University, wrote that psychologists have generally agreed that adapting to the environment is a key to understanding both what intelligence is and what it does. And that such adaptation may occur in a variety of settings. For example, a student in school learns the material he needs to know in order to do well in a course. A physician treating a patient with unfamiliar symptoms learns about the underlying disease. Um, let's go a different area. Let's do an artist reworks the painting to convey a more coherent impression, for example. So, for the most part, adaptation involves making change in oneself in order to cope more effectively with the environment, but it can also mean changing the environment or finding an entirely new environment. So those were, let me make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, adaptable. That was our last one. So those were the characteristics of a highly intelligent person. And now let's kind of shift a little bit and talk about the common habits of a highly intelligent person. They treat every situation as a learning experience. They feel like they can learn something from every new experience, and they try to absorb everything that people tell them. There's value in the journey, not just the result. They have the habit of trying to figure things out for themselves first and before asking for help. And they find value in struggling first because of the lessons that can be learned from, jumping in and tackling problems on their own. They know that not trying first and going straight for help is going to result in a high degree of dependency. Highly intelligent people often ask lots of questions. And asking lots of questions allows them to have a better perspective on how the world works and allows them to learn new things, which again is very important to our highly intelligent students. They learn best by imitation. So they learn better or learn faster by watching somebody else do it first. They study existing methods. For example, they might watch a YouTube video and then they let their ideas and their creativity kind of take over and they make slight modifications to what they watched and kind of then use that to come up with their own innovative thoughts. Highly intelligent people tend to exercise daily. Um, they prioritize getting enough rest and daily activity because they're aware of those health benefits. They know that being both physically and mentally healthy, it's important. It's an important aspect of their uh, productivity, and it can affect how they develop and how they um, utilize their creative thoughts. They simplify their routines as much as possible. Highly intelligent people are known to have very simplistic schedules because they have the habit of eliminating trivial tasks and routines as well as unnecessary complexity from their life, which then allows them to be as productive and efficient as they possibly can be. And this allows them to focus on higher level thinking or higher level items, higher level problem solving. Let's see. They make everyone around them feel smart. I love this. They tend to praise other people's successes and intelligence, even if they've already done whatever it is or learned whatever it was, because they know that praising them has more benefits than belittling them or bragging about their own knowledge or about having already learned or done that first. So that was a quick look at the habits of highly intelligent people. Now I want to go ahead and move on to things highly intelligent people do differently. Um, so first, they can adapt. They can adapt to different environments or to changes within that environment with ease. They may be, this may be because um, it requires many cognitive processes such as perception and learning and memory and problem solving. And highly intelligent people have this information on hand and can use it quickly and efficiently. They see every moment as an opportunity to learn, and they question everything. Parents, do you experience that with your kiddos? We often see hiring managers, for example, seek out those who are curious and conscientious because they tend to have more motivation. They tend to seek out answers and to learn more. They're highly motivated with that. Plus, they have accumulated more knowledge throughout their life than those who just rely on their intelligence. Highly intelligent people understand that they don't know everything and are able to identify their own strengths as well as their own weaknesses. While highly intelligent people are often perceived as being overconfident, truly intelligent individuals know that they don't know everything. And admitting that they don't know everything shows high levels of self awareness. And highly intelligent people are always seeking knowledge. They want to learn more. The correlation between learning and intelligence is explained by neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change or adapt by forming new neural connections throughout life. This happens, again, throughout life. Excuse me. Highly intelligent people get bored. While being bored is frustrating, it's actually really necessary for creativity and for intelligence. There was a 2019 study that found that participants who were asked to perform a mundane sorting task performed higher in the later creative section of the study than those who were asked to create a complex story as to why they relate to an event. So boredom allowed the brain to rest and access their creativity. Now, you often find that highly intelligent people doodle. Any of you have doodlers? Doodling is the brain's way of trying to stay focused and process information. Now, scientists have looked at the brains of doodlers, believe it or not, and found activity in the prefrontal cortex, which is involved with analytical thinking. It's involved with memory, problem solving, logic. And then a study coming out of the University of Plymouth in the UK looked at participants' levels of engagement and memory during a mock telephone call and found that those who doodled retained 29% more information than those who did not doodle. And then highly intelligent people are generally self aware, which we've kind of touched on already, and introspective through self examination and reflection. They tend to reflect on the decisions they make, the actions that they take, and they practice that self examination and reflection. So, sitting and thinking about those. They are open to new opportunities and experiences. There have been various studies that have investigated the correlation between openness and intelligence and found that the degree of openness can actually affect fluid intelligence. So basically, being open minded signals cognitive adaptability and flexibility, which is what keeps us curious and ready to learn. So it's important to keep in mind that intelligence cannot be easily measured and it's not fixed, it's fluid. We've talked about characteristics, common habits, and what highly intelligent people do differently. Now let's take a look at the struggles that they may experience. They get bored with small talk. Have you heard the saying, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people? Highly intelligent people aren't drawn to what they consider the unimportant things, such as who's dating whom, or the upcoming school dance, or what happened at the football game. They enjoy discussing ideas and concepts. They enjoy the abstract and thought provoking mental exercises that they can engage in. They tend to be careful with their words. Highly intelligent people are often described as reserved, as quiet, as shy, overly serious. They tend, and I think this is because they tend to be slow to respond, and there are often long silences while they think through what they might want to share before they speak. They're being careful to select the right words for their responses. Highly intelligent person may be socially awkward. A 2015 study by Davidson shows that people who have high IQs tend to have lower EQs, which are it's the emotional intelligence quotient. Which this is what helps us form relationships and kind of hone our social skills. And then highly intelligent people may struggle to make good friends. And this is, I think, very much connected to being socially awkward. Um, I think they can kind of go hand in hand, but some people are intimidated by intelligence, and they may believe that somebody is too smart for them to be friends with because they feel like they can't relate, or even that they're not smart enough to be friends with that person. A highly intelligent person might wonder then if they should dumb down, so that people will feel more comfortable being their friend or being in their presence. Um, they are probably drawn to people though who have similar intelligence. Highly intelligent people don't tend to get up much. They might struggle in social situations because they aren't good with small talk and they find it hard to connect and make friends. There are a lot of people that don't like small talk, and I totally get that. But as a result of having a difficult time making connections and making friends, they don't go out much and they tend to focus more on their academics. And this can cause an imbalance between school and then social life. And this can lead then to unhappiness. It can lead to lower self esteem, and it can even lead to academic burnout because they're spending all their time focusing on academics instead of kind of having academics as well as a social life. Highly intelligent people may be overly analytical. A common struggle for highly intelligent people is often called paralysis by analysis. Have you heard that term before? It happens when they become blocked by always needing to know the correct answer, or the most correct answer, or making the best decision. It could cause them to struggle with indecisiveness, as they tend to think through all the different possibilities and angles before making a decision, or becoming even more indecisive. A highly intelligent person, their mind may constantly crave exercise. Highly intelligent people enjoy and need constant intellectual stimulation. They want and need to do something that engages their brain and challenges them. They This need can make everyday things seem arduous as their brain seeks a challenge. And again, this connects, I think, very strongly back to when we were talking about how their schedules are simplistic because they're getting rid of those things that are routine or mundane. A highly intelligent person may feel pressured to succeed. You've probably heard the saying, with great intelligence comes great expectation. As a highly intelligent person, they've most likely felt that indirect pressure to succeed, either from within themselves or from others. A casual comment from a friend, such as, "So, you got another A on the test, huh?" Causes their mind to kind of think, "Oh my gosh, this is my role. This is what's expected of me always. I can't do anything less." So it creates that pressure, completely unintended, I'm sure, by the question from the peer, but it's been internalized then as an expectation and a pressure. And this causes them then to continually push themselves harder to prove their intelligence. And this can lead to exacerbating perfectionistic tendencies and an unhealthy, disproportionate fear of failure. I have um, program that I've done on perfectionism. And if you're interested in kind of looking more into that, you can find that on the Academy's YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook page. I just wanted to mention that because I am going to mention perfectionistic tendencies a few times from this point out. Um, but it can feel good to know something that others don't know. But being smart isn't always easy. Some people can never get past seeing a highly intelligent person as anything but an IQ score or an SAT score or being the smart kid or the kid that sets the curve. Some may even villainize our highly intelligent children out of jealousy, which can lead them, the highly intelligent person, to feeling lonely and even more disconnected. So let's talk about ways we can support our highly intelligent children. The highly intelligent child is still a child, and they're going to need to do all of those things that children need to do. They need to run, play, laugh, daydream, so forth. They need love and boundaries. They need attention, but they need discipline. They need parental involvement, yet training in self dependence and responsibility. Highly intelligent children need to hear the positives about 10 times as often as the negatives. They tend to be sensitive, so hearing the positives is really important. They're already telling themselves the negatives over and over and over throughout the day. So, as their family members, as their parents, they need to hear those positives, again, at least 10 times as often as the negatives. It's easy to compare children, and for highly intelligent children, it's important that we not compare them with other children because that places the responsibility to live up to that image all the time. So we need to live out and emphasize that all children are unique and special. Um, as parents, you already know how important it is to listen to our children. They may have tons and tons and tons of questions, and you've got lots going on and lots on your to-do list, but the question may be important. And if ignored, the curiosity to ask and seek may disappear. And then finally, praising our kiddos. We can never do it enough. Praising their efforts. Praise your child for the wonderful things that they're doing. And if they experience a failure, praise them for trying. Again, that is a really big one for students who may be experiencing perfectionistic tendencies. By praising their trying, even though they see themselves as failing, it's going to help and encourage them with risk taking and learning. As parents, I know one of our biggest concerns, as I mentioned, is how we can support them. So let's look at just a few more ways that we can support them. Just some general thoughts here. Um, we can also know our child's areas of intense interest and build upon these. So we help them to find and use resources either at home or within the community to further their learning and specialization. And again, I have another program out there on YouTube and on the Academy's Facebook page called Helping My Gifted Child Succeed. And I give some tips and ideas for how you can support them with finding those interests and building up on those. Encourage originality. Help them to um, do their thing, praise what they've produced, whatever their thing may be. Help them to take pride in their original and creative work. Discipline is necessary. It's necessary for all children, and highly intelligent children are no exception. They can often be very good at manipulation. So, as parents, we have to stand our ground because high intelligence is not an excuse for unacceptable behavior. So, talk through why behaviors are not appropriate, as well as why consequences are important. The thing with our highly intelligent children is they're they're thinking and processing things in a different way and on a different level sometimes. And so um, giving them the reasons why can be very, very helpful in helping them to grow and develop in these areas. Um, Garbage in, garbage out. Who's heard that phrase? I grew up as a kid myself, always hearing garbage in, garbage out. It means that what a child reads, what they watch, what they listen to is what's going to come out in the way that they perform, act, and respond. So be sure to make available options for good books, magazines, and other different learning aids, whether it's in your home or it's at the library or helping them to know what's available in their school systems to utilize as well. And then explore the world. At home, in the backyard, within the community. You can visit museums, art galleries, educational institutions, historical places. The list is pretty lengthy, and all of this is going to enhance their learning. And again, showing them our support of what's important to them and their learning methods. And again, I do mention some other ways to explore the world in my Helping My Child Succeed program. They'll try to do everything if you let them. High ability, highly intelligent kids, they're interested in so many different things that they will try to do it all. They sign up for all the extras, extra learning opportunities, extra academically oriented clubs, community service, programs at the library. I mean, the list goes on. It's important that they have time also, though, to daydream, to be silly, to watch TV, to read comics, to play games, to spend time with the family, to get rest, which many intelligent children find to be a waste of time. It's still really important for them to be able to give their, I'm going to call it a brain break, to take that brain break. Again, that has so many benefits to them. Rest can help them to be more alert, but it can also help them to access that creative part of their brain later on. As parents, it's important for us to avoid the role of the rescuer, and that is hard. It's hard to watch our children struggle. It's hard to watch them fail, but it's so important for their growth and their development. They need to experience the consequences of leaving their homework at home, or doing poorly on a project, or being late to class, or whatever it may be. It's important that they experience this. It helps them to learn how to navigate those situations. It helps to build resiliency and lets them down the road experience what true success is. Because you can't experience true success without experiencing a bit of failure first. Highly intelligent children are often acutely aware of adult issues such as death, sickness, family finances, war, politics, the future, etc. But they don't have the life experiences to lend context to what they're hearing, what they're aware of, or to be able to solve any of the problems. So they may need reassurance from you as their parent, as their family member in these different areas. And then finally, as parents, we need to enjoy our highly intelligent child. Gifted children are, as I've mentioned, often curious. They're enthusiastic. They're excited about new things and so much more. They need acceptance. They need appreciation and a sense of accomplishment just as much as they need academic challenges in order to excel. Highly intelligent children are often excuse me, my clicker is stuck. All right, I'm going to give that just a second and see if it releases. But as I was saying, it, as parents, we get to enjoy our highly intelligent kiddos. They're great kids. And with working with them and setting boundaries and helping them to take those brain breaks, we can help them to continue to grow and develop, and it feeds that need that they have as a highly intelligent child. There, it advanced. Sorry about that. So tonight we've talked about, or today, excuse me, we've talked about the 9 types of intelligence. We reviewed the characteristics and common habits of highly intelligent people, as well as some of the things they do differently and some of the struggles that they may face. With all of these things that I've talked about today, every piece may not fit your child because all of our kids are different, and certain pieces may fit and others may not, and that's okay. That's how it should be. But hopefully I've been able to give you a bit of an overview as we begin to peel those different layers of the onion and looking at our highly gifted children. And so I invite you to use the QR codes on your screen. The one on the left there, you can scan to register for a parent guide, Resources for Gifted Students. That program will take place on Wednesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. And the QR code on the right there, I invite you to scan for some Academy swag. You can never have enough swag, right? So if you scan that, answer the 2 or 3 questions that are there, I will happily send you some swag. I appreciate you all very much for joining me for the program today, and I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen. Again, thank you so much for joining me.